Hey, Gabe,
What up, brother?
it's going to be a crazy show today.
Oh yeah.
XFL and the USL may be merging.
Mm-hmm. That's
What?
major. Major. Major.
Major news. Plus, we got some NFL running backs who are out, plus some new signings and trades. We've got some other players who've been injured. There's a lot to talk about today, y'all. So sit back and relax and jump in
Yeah.
with us. And let's talk about it. It's the
That's
Gridiron.
right, baby. Let's do it.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome in to another episode of the Gridiron. We are actually on episode 31. I am your co-host, Jersey the King. He's the other co-host, Double G.
What is
Gabe Garcia.
popping,
going on,
everybody? What's good? Finally back after taking a week off of the show. But I'm back with y'all. Hit's back too, man. What is up,
Sir.
Hit?
Welcome back to it. Happy to have you back, brother. Thank you for being here today. Rig Rockers, can you hear us both now? We are live. We are ready to go. What's going on, brother?
What's good, Rig? How you doing, man? Yeah.
He said the Jets when they face the Cowboy Boys. He's starting already. Yes, Hit is back and in 100% health, y'all. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about today. It's going to be a packed show today. Of course, the XFL-USFL merger. It's huge talk. There's a lot going on with that. I got a lot of news for you guys today about that. We got some injuries to talk about in NFL. What's going on, Jess? Welcome in. How y'all doing, or how you doing today?
Hello.
There's just so much today, man. There's so much. And there's some big college matchups going on right now. Florida and Clemson are playing. Florida State, number 3 Florida State, and Clemson are actually playing big battle ACC. That's actually live on ABC right now. Oklahoma's playing Cincinnati. Big games coming on that we're going to talk about today. So, y'all ready?
Let's get it on. Let's do it.
You ready?
I'm ready. I am ready, brother. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Well, let's get it. We're gonna hit this intro one last time, and then we gonna get to talking back because I don't know about y'all, but it's hot. It's heavy.
Let's go.
It's the Gridiron. Now, let's just start it off.
The big news. Big news.
This is huge, y'all. And the reason why I say this is huge is because there's so much that's going to go into trying to make this merge happen. Now, Gabe, when they first broke the news, right? They were talking about this Friday, or this past Friday, yesterday, being the earliest we'd hear an official announcement. And we haven't heard anything yet. But when the announcement first broke, when the news first broke, the announcement was first made that by Axio that there was a possible, merger being talked about, it just went.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like wildfire. It was like wildfire, man.
I want to know your initial thoughts when you first heard about, the XFL and USFL possibly merging.
Well, the first thing I thought was, okay, this has to be BS. Let me hit Google real quick and do a little bit of research. And Googled it in USFL, XFL merger, and all kinds of stuff started popping up. Now, it all came from one original source, which was at Axios or Axolis.com or whatever it is. But everybody that's actually kind of gives spring football news that's legit was sharing this article. website. So I started saying, okay, let's look into this. And I started, kind of like everybody else, just looking at what little bit of details that we were actually given. And, right now, see, the thing is, it's hard to, you got to weed out the details and what people's opinions of what they think is going on and kind of figure it out for yourself. But my first, after all that, my initial thought, if it does happen, when I read this, is like, okay, this is a good thing for both leagues. But I had a lot of questions, which was answered eventually, which was like, okay, my first thought was USFL must have initiated this contact. Come to find out, no, it wasn't. It was XFL who actually reached out to them. So I was actually surprised by that. I really was. But I think it's a good thing. It is, but it's got to be done right. That was another one of my first thoughts was there's just so much to think about, like, from our point of view, in terms of like, well, I'm not just, we're not just going to run out and say, okay, this is good, this is bad, this is good. We got to be like, hold on, I got some questions. You know what I mean? So there's some things that we need to know first about what they're planning to do before I actually decide if I'm on board with this. But in terms of an overall merging, if it's done right, like me and you talked about the other night, I'm all with it, brother. I am. So my first thought was, I need to know how they're going to do this. You know what I mean? Before I decide if I think it's going to work or not.
Now, I ain't even gonna lie to you. It was crazy for me. Okay. It was the day of my anniversary, 3-year anniversary with my wife, right?
Happy anniversary, by the way, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I wake up, and first thing I do, grab my phone, like I do every morning, grab my phone, check my notifications, and check Twitter. And bro, it just was bling, 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 bling. All my sources that I'm involved with, I'm getting messages, I'm getting I'm seeing posts, the whole nine, right? I'm like, no, this can't be true. So I go and check the Axios post. I'm like, okay, this is true. Because then I went and checked XFL News Hub, USFL News Hub, XFL Newsroom, so on and so forth. Then, of course, I check my DMs and I'm like, oh, shit. It's really happening. Now, I made a post this week in several groups that we're in, and I said, when I first said that the USFL and the XFL could possibly merge sooner than we think, everybody thought I was crazy. Everybody's like, oh, stop it. That's nonsense. This is that and third.
I'm one of them.
Now,
admittedly, I am one of the ones that thought it would be too soon. But yeah, go on.
Now here's something that's crazy, and I talk to my wife a lot about sports now and a lot about football, of course. And when Danny Garcia and Dwayne Johnson and Redbird Capital Group first said that they were purchasing the XFL, I said, watch. After a year, after one season of this revamp, we're going to mess around and merge with the USFL. Look at us today. And I said this back in 2021 when they announced that they were purchasing them. It's 2023. Full season has gone past. And look, the XFL, Jerry Cardinal and the Redbird Capital Group went to the USFL and said, hey, you need our help. We need your help. Because let's look at it from a legitimate aspect. Now, in order for these leagues to both survive, what would they need to do? Succeed one of the other. Eventually, one was going to succeed the other and either buy out that other league or to save face, hey, let's merge. Now, these two leagues are looking at it from a longevity standpoint. Okay, if we merge now, we can survive later. You know what I mean? And Gabe, thank you for stopping by, bro. I appreciate it. My boy Tangerine Lee Tree. That's my boy.
Tangerine Lee Tree.
That's my boy
That sounds like a good
Romania.
strain right there, man. That sounds like the name of a good strain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's my boy from Romania, bro. But yeah, thank you for
all right.
bro. But yeah, it was a matter of like Hit says, it was a matter of time. It was going to happen some way or form because money walks and BS talks. But on the upper hand, is great for the players in both leagues. It is, but I'm going to explain to you here in a little bit on why it may not be. Now, again, looking at it from a longevity standpoint, Gabe, if we were both businessmen looking at this, you were the owner of the USFL, I'm the owner of the XFL, and I'm like, hey, after this first season, I'm looking at the numbers, I'm looking at the books, and I'm like, this ain't looking like something that could last 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road on its own. So, hey, Gabe, are you feeling the same way about the USFL? You know what I mean? And you're like, yeah, you know what? Let's sit down, let's talk, let's see what kind of agreement we can come to make this both work together. And I think that's ultimately what happened. You know what I mean? Because check this out, guys. 98%, damn near 99% of the staff and the executives in the league who are not part of the owners group don't even know what the hell's going on. Mm-hmm. They're sitting here calling XFL insiders and USFL insiders and like, hey, is this true? Hey, is this true? We don't even know. So it's on a level of, it's so quiet. This is why we haven't got a lot of details, because everything has been kept under wraps, because there's been speculation and rumors that they've been talking ever since the day after the XFL championship game. So if that's the case, a lot of things could be already in the works that we don't even know about. And when they go to announce it is when we'll know. But like you were saying, Gabe, there's so much speculations going on right now. There's so many different groups out there on social media who you got so many people saying this and what this should be and what they should see change and this, that, and the third. And it's like, let's get an announcement first.
Yes, that's my thinking. It's like, this hasn't actually happened yet. And it's probably going to be inevitable now, but it may not even happen this year. We don't know yet. Remember, we talked about this, like they've probably given themselves a deadline to get these talks done. Right. And then at some point they're like, okay, we either got to start preparing for 2024 individually or we got to do this. But yeah, exactly. I mean, let's get an announcement first before we start speculating on anything like this. Because from what I'm seeing from some people is they're talking about, so with this merger happening now, and it's like, hold on, that the merger's not happening right now. We don't know that yet. Yeah, unless you know, I feel like telling some of these people, unless you know some insider that the rest of us do not know, that's leaking you this information, which you're not because you're just some dude behind a keyboard, then no, stop putting it out there that this is a done deal, because it's not. We both understand how all of the red tape, everything that has to be crossed for this to happen, which is why we've got no more information. There's too much business involved, especially because there's two networks involved. So it could be taking a little bit longer than what most of us want. But for good reason. And looking at what Flame Wingman says, if Dwayne and Danny would have spent their own money on advertising. See, the problem is people be saying this, but they actually did. The reason they got a partner, that between them two and their partner, they all took their own money to bring it up to $23.5 million, which consisted of the $15 million purchasing and the rest to go towards advertising and such. So a lot of people, I've been hearing that a lot.
$30 million that they spent on the debt.
Yes.
From the XFL.
So don't get it twisted. Dwayne and Danny, they've put much of their money forth for this thing to happen, which is why they wanted to succeed. And like you said, eventually one of these was going to overtake the other. And they're passionate enough about it that they're like, look, we need to reach out and make this happen now, because we can't, it can't be something where one absorbs the other. It's got to be a level playing field where the two mutually agree on something of coming together, which is why I talked to you the other day, why I said if they do away with half the teams in the USFL, it's not going to work. You got to keep at least, because then it looks like they're just absorbing them. You know what I mean? And it's not an actual merger.
Right. And I'm glad you said that. Speaking of, this report right here, just looking at this has been the big talk all week long.
Yeah.
The teams are going to survive. And from what?
You ain't trying to get a free government tablet?
Hell no. Got one already.
Damn pop-ups, man.
No, but from what Axios has reported, if they're already advanced in merger talks, then what's going to happen? You know what I mean? And from what this is saying, okay, as the situation stands now, the Defenders, the St. Louis Battlehawks, the Renegades, the Brahmas, and the Sea Dragons all appear to be safe from being cut out of the equation. That's 5 teams.
Yeah, but they can't cut Orlando. I mean, maybe we talked about that one.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
See, and this is the thing here. The Orlando Guardians faced attendance issues similar to the Sea Dragons in 2023. A USFL April schedule could potentially hurt the Guardians, as May and June are rainy seasons in Florida. Either way. And then here we go.
Yeah, see, this is one that I'm like, man.
Now, when it comes to these 2 Houston teams, what's going on? Pert, how you feeling, bro? Welcome in, brother.
What up, Pert?
I gotta reach out to you, bro. We gotta have you on, man. I needed to reach out to you. We were supposed to have you on last week, and that was my bad. So I'm gonna hit you up and make sure we get you on very soon. But it's just now my thing is this, okay? If you keep it at, or if you take it down to 12, 14 or 12 teams, it could work. But here's the problem with that. You're losing a lot of fans.
Yes.
I love a lot of fans. If you remove 4 teams from each league, you take a hell of a lot more fans away from the league, because now these people aren't going to watch. People are going to watch. They're going to be like, well, what the hell's the point of me watching now? My team is no longer there. Or I got to wait till, because, okay, getting back to this, they're talking about possibly cutting teams right now, right? For 2024, possibly. And then bringing them back in 2025 and 2026.
See, my issue with this, bro, is the thing about both the spring leagues. In order for this to work, man, and we've been banging our heads repeating this over and over and over, which is why we try to get people to support the leagues, is in order for this to work, it has to be about the fans, right? Has to. But the fans don't trust spring football fully right now, because there's just been too many reboots of these leagues. And if you do that and you take another step back, fans are like, you know what? I ain't even gonna watch this no more. We don't even know what's going on. So that they have to walk on the eggshells in terms of like the teams, because for that reason, you got the fans, the trust. If you lose the trust of the fans, you're not going to get it back, and spring football won't be back. You know what I mean? It won't survive. So, and I hope they understand this. I think they do.
And as y'all are seeing me, I'm just reading through this. Even with the Vipers, and y'all know how much I love the Vipers, and I even started a petition for the Vegas Vipers to remain in Vegas. So go check that out. I posted it on Facebook and on Twitter. I started a petition for the Vegas Vipers. Y'all know I'm not playing, but these potential moves still have challenges, especially now with this merger. Okay, so there's still a chance for Vegas to stay in Vegas. They just have to find a stadium. But here's one of the challenges: they moved to Arizona. It's too hot, and that's just facts. You know what I mean? Arizona gets up to 120 degrees sometimes. That's way too hot to be trying to play football. As well as if you move them to Tennessee, you're going to have a Nashville team and a Memphis team. How's that going to work? How is it going to work with these different hubs? Are we going to go back to the hub the whole hub system, or are we going back to, are we going back to this hub system, or are we going to find fields for these other teams in the USFL that don't have that are going to be planning on staying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got to look at it. There's so many. There's just so many. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of hoops for them to jump through right now.
Like Rick Rocker says, with the whole Houston problem, Roughnecks have already built something with the fans. The Gamblers haven't been here since the 80s. Send them somewhere else. That's more than likely what will happen.
Yeah, because and we talked about this the other night with Houston, man. Like Houston has a fan base there right now. Yeah, and they're a strong team. You know what I mean? So
not only that, they have 2 places to play right now.
Yeah,
as of right now, they have 2 places to play. Let's keep it real. They have Rice Stadium for this upcoming season.
Yeah, and
then once the renovations are done at TDECU, they're going back to TDECU because they still have that contract there. So Houston's already established as far as the Roughnecks is concerned. The Houston Gamblers franchise in the USFL, come on now, they haven't been successful since the return of the USFL. Let's call it for what it is, because they weren't successful last season and they weren't successful this past season. So, and then on top of that, the fan base wasn't there because they're not playing in Houston. So you would ultimately have to get rid of the Houston Gamblers franchise, right?
Yeah.
If they were to get rid of the Vegas franchise, that's going to kill the XFL. I'm going to just tell you that now. That's going to kill the XFL. If they get rid of the Orlando Guardians franchise, that's going to kill the XFL even more, because we're trying to trust y'all to bring us a successful league that could last. What's going on, Doughboy? Welcome in, brother. But it's just like they're not. I don't know, man. It's like they're not looking at it from the fans' point of view no more.
Yeah.
Once this merger talk came into play, it's like, all right, what's going to be the best way to save money?
It's got to be about the fans, man. We know this. That's the only way this is going to survive. This isn't the NFL, where the NFL can afford to lose fans when they want to, because it's just so massive. This, as a brand new startup, especially if it's a merger, you'll have to call it a startup. They're going to need the fans. Without the fans, sorry, you ain't going to survive. It's not going to happen. And you have to show the respect to the fans.
Now, Flame, the Gamblers did have a winning record this season, but they didn't make the playoffs. In Spring League, let's keep it real, making the playoffs matter. Especially when it's survival of the fittest. What's going on, Beatrice? Welcome in. Thank you for being here.
B? How you doing, girl?
But let's keep it real. They didn't have a successful. They didn't have the success that they wanted. And if you want to put them up, if you want to put the franchises up against each other, let's look at it for what it is. Houston has a better franchise, or the Roughnecks have a better franchise. Excuse me. The Roughnecks have a bigger fan base. The Roughnecks have a place to play in the state of Texas, in the city of Houston, as well. The Roughnecks will bring in money. They will bring money to the league. That's what's more important right now for them.
Yeah.
He says, it does make sense, but compared to what their record was last year, compared to this team, yes, and you're right. You're right. They do They do have that step up. You know, they did improve from last season to this season. You know what I mean? Mark Thompson was a monster. Kenji Bahar played a lot better than he did last year. But what I'm saying is, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not saying the Gamblers are a better franchise than the Roughnecks, but the Roughnecks are a better I'm saying the Roughnecks are a better franchise than the Gamblers. So if it was me, I would get rid of the Gamblers and move them. But I'm not going to move them east. I'm going to move them west. If you're going to merge, look at the map as of right now, and you were to put all the teams that are currently in both leagues on that map. The East Coast and the Midwest and the South are just flooded with teams. The West has 2 teams, Vegas and Seattle, and they're both in the XFL. There's no need to move the Vegas Vipers to the East Coast. That would be a big mistake. OKC would be a good spot for the Gamblers. That would be a good, really good spot. You know, get a couple more Midwest teams in there, but they need to move some franchises. Like, in my opinion, I would move the Pittsburgh Maulers. Move them to Canton. You have the Canton field that you're playing on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
because how many Pittsburgh Steelers fans or how many Pittsburgh residents and fans of football are really going to travel to Ohio to cheer for a Pittsburgh team?
Yeah, you would need to move to put them in their city, in their home city.
Put them in Canton.
Yeah.
Put them in Canton. Let the fans in Canton say, okay, we got a team now. The Canton Maulers. Boom. If you want to move Philly, because I would move Philly too. Even though they're a good franchise, I would still move them. Because you're going to compete with the Philadelphia Eagles and try to find a stadium to play at. Why? Why do that? You know what I mean? And it's not really so much competing, but, you know, them people in Philly are diehard Philly Eagles fans. They're diehard Eagles fans. They're not going to say, okay, well, I'm going to cheer for the Eagles. And then when spring football comes around, I'm going to start to try and get involved with the Philadelphia Stars. No, it's Eagles or die. That's the only football that they're going to.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know, though. Do you not think that market is big enough for a spring football team to succeed?
It is if you have enough fans, yeah. And Flame, you can definitely keep them in Philly. You can definitely keep them there. But I'm just saying, if you had to make a choice, I would move them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with Flame on this. I think they would be better served keeping the Stars there, just because the Philly Stars has kind of become much as I hate to say it, it's kind of like when you would like the Philly Stars when you're talking about spring football, it's a recognizable thing. You know what I mean? So it's. Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, I would keep them there. I could see your logic though on moving them. But if it was me, if it was me, that's one of the teams I would say, look, if we can keep from moving Philly, let's try to keep from doing that. But
just
what's up, JP?
We don't need we don't need no more Philly teams. But no, I'm just saying, would you drop Jersey or Philly?
I would drop Jersey. No,
crazy.
Man. See, I don't know. I don't know.
Crazy.
I don't know.
Why take a team completely out of the New York, New Jersey market altogether?
Yeah,
that's dumb.
But then you can ask the same thing about the Philly market, because if you're going to move Pittsburgh, then you don't have any teams in the Pennsylvania market, and it's very football out there. So you got to keep one of them there.
But then who else is there to go?
Well, if you're talking from USFL.
Let's look at the USFL real quick. Who would be the 2 teams that you would get rid of if they were to drop it down to a 12-team league to start off with the merge?
Oh, well, Gamblers would be one of them. Gamblers would be one of them for me.
They have a home field and they had a decent turnout with audience.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get rid of Birmingham. Mm-hmm. The 2-time champions. You would be ignorant as hell to get rid of New Orleans. You'd be ignorant to get rid of New Jersey. That's 4 teams already that you should not get rid of in the USFL.
So then it would probably, yeah. And Memphis would be a bad team to think of because just this past year, them going back to Memphis, I mean, the fans were ready for it. We saw it in the first game; they had a good turnout. So it would probably have to. It would probably have if it was between the Maulers and Philly. I'm talking Maulers. From a business standpoint, I'm like, let's get Maulers out of there. We'll keep the stars in Philadelphia, and it would, but definitely Houston, because if I'm looking at the two Houston teams, I'm sorry, I'm saying, look, you know what, the Roughnecks have more ground to stand on right now. They have a better team. They have a strong fan base. We got to keep them there. Let's get the Gamblers out of town.
Rick says, get rid of the Gamblers. I'm a little biased. That's a super fan for the Houston Roughnecks. So he's definitely going to say get rid of the Gamblers. But, yeah, best case scenario, I kind of agree. But I don't think the Breakers are going to move. New Orleans, that's a market.
The problem with that, the Breakers, it wouldn't surprise me if they did that. But I think I'm like you, it would be a bad move. I think in terms of the fact that they play so far away from where they're at, that's the reason they would look at it. But I mean, look, the Breakers, they got a good team. They've had a strong following. People still, even though they don't have their team there, they're like, come on, man, give us our team. So yeah. I think it would be a bad move, but to be honest, it would not surprise me, to see them being one of the teams. I would hate it. I'm a Breakers fan. That's not what I want. I want that team, get them in their city. But it's interesting to say the least. What I think the consensus seems to be Houston. The big talk of Houston, which Houston team's going to go, because they're not going to keep both of them. They can't. No, there's no possible way. They can't. And there's no reason to. It makes no sense. Absolutely no sense to do that.
Even if you were to move them, you know what I mean? Even if you were to move them and keep them in Texas somewhere, that would still make no sense, because why have 4 Texas teams?
Yeah. And I mean, this isn't, like I've said, I always hate doing this, but this isn't the NFL where you can put 2 teams in one market, like Los Angeles, like the Jersey and New York area, and it's going to survive because the fan bases aren't quite big enough. That's where they're trying to get to. So yeah, there's no reason to keep 2 in Houston, exactly, Rig, and it wouldn't. One of those teams wouldn't survive. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean? Eventually, one of them would be on the outs, anyways. So,
yeah, we will have to see how that goes. But the sad reality is, this merger could be a good thing, a bad thing, or a horrible thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I give it all 3 levels is because they could do it the right way and it works out well, but they would need, in my opinion, they would need to keep at least 12 teams and bring all the teams back within by 2025, 2026. They would have to, you know what I mean? And keep the fans anticipating on what's happening next. You know what I mean? But in all actuality, what could possibly happen is they merge. And me and Gabe was just talking about this the other night. They merge, but the USFL and the XFL have their seasons this upcoming season, and then the merge doesn't actually go into full effect until 2025, which could still be a good thing. Now, that's all the good. Here's the bad. They rush. They get rid of, 4 to 6 teams, and we're down to either 10 or 12. You lose a shit ton of fans. You can't figure out your TV rights and where you're going to broadcast games, because we don't even know if Disney's still going to sell ESPN or not. We don't know what the hell is going on with, either of these leagues trying to get a deal with NBC or TBS or CBS or any of the other broadcast companies out there. And then you have to look at all these players, all these coaches.
Yeah.
Where's that money coming from?
Mm-hmm.
You got to look at contracts for both players, coaches, the lengths of contracts, the amount of money in these contracts. You know what I mean?
And contracts for venues as well. So
and then on top of that, what also could be bad is we're back to a damn dumb hub system. We're only
That will
playing
not
like
work.
6 seasons.
Yeah.
Or
See,
6
and
series.
I think if this merger is to happen, it has to go in without hub cities. I mean, it's not gonna work because that's when you'll lose the trust of the fans. That's when the fans are like, okay, you know what? What's the point of this then? You know,
But
what
that's
is the
what
point? Why would XFL do this if the point, you know, or even USFL is trying to get teams into cities, you know, and the XFL, if they were agree to this and there was a hub there, that's a step back for them, in my opinion. So you cannot, the one thing, if this hub thing is going to work, I mean, I'm sorry, if this merger thing is going to work, in my opinion, there can't be hub cities. You have to have every team playing in a home stadium somewhere.
And that's where the USFL runs into a problem with, because they only have 3 stadiums. So that means 5 out of your 8 teams don't have a field to call their own.
Yeah.
And Flame, I'm not saying it's going to be 10. I'm not saying it's going to be 10. I'm just saying they could be dumb enough to take it down to 10, and we're looking at 10 teams instead of 12, 14, or 16, which we want. I would want them to keep it.
If there's going to be a league, it has to be 12 teams minimum, because if it's like just 10 teams, I'm like, okay, what's the point of this? We lost 2 leagues of football, traded them for 1, and only got 2 teams out of it. You know, it's and I think this is something that they have to be discussing, man. Like, you know, besides, the thing is, with all these talks going on, it's not just a bunch of people sitting in a room and that's it. You've got your business people trying to work out what would happen on the business side. And then you've got your other people talking about, you know, this part of it, which is, okay, where are we going to play? How are we going to do this if this goes down? Where are we going to get the money to put these teams into stadiums? It's a lot of hoops to jump through, man. So this is why when that news broke, I was like, we're not going to know by the end of the week. It's just too soon. There's too much hoops for them to go through, and too much compromise to be made here for them to just say, okay, in a couple of days, boom, guess what, guys? We got this. We're going to have an announcement for you now. That's why they said it would be the earliest. They didn't say it's a deadline. They're like, the earliest you're going to hear something is Friday, but don't even count on that.
Right. What's going on, Lamar? It's my cousin, man. Thank you for being here, bro.
What's up, Lamar? How you doing, man?
Thank you for popping in. Definitely appreciate the love. But Rick says right now they seem to be losing trust little by little as it is. They need to step back and look at it right now. I know it's a business, but without us, they won't have shit. And that right there is exactly right. Because at the end of the day, the reason why the XFL survived season 1 was because of us fans.
The fans.
The reason why the USFL survived season 1 and season 2 of their comeback is because of the fans. And they barely survived season 2.
Yeah, and see, what was I telling you, man? Like, after the season ended, when they said that the USFL wasn't planning on putting teams in home cities for season 3, I told you that's it. They're not going to survive season 3 then, because we don't want to see hubs in the season 3. And I think it just wouldn't. You can't. 2 seasons, I was okay with it as a fan. I'm like, all right, I get it. But by season 3, I'm sorry, I better see the teams. And once they came out and said, well, in season 3, we don't plan on moving teams. We may just be adding 2 hub cities. I'm like, okay, you're not going to survive season 3. You won't.
But then I look at it from a different aspect now, right? The XFL announced their season tickets on 8/1. They've announced their season tickets release, right? Like, hey, everybody get your season tickets, blah, 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 blah. There were 6 dates. I wonder why there were 6 dates.
12 teams.
It's the logic.
12-game season. It would have to be a 12-game season.
You know what I mean? 6 home games, 6 away games. So if me as a season ticket holder is looking at this like, well, why is there 6 home games now? There wasn't 6 home games this past season. Yeah. So why all of a sudden is there 6 home games and 6 away games? Why? What? How are we getting 12 games? And it's not the playoffs. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And on top of that, the speculation and rumors of the XFL and the USFL heads talking right after the XFL championship game, that gives them plenty of time. You know, you got June, the rest of June, July, August. We're in September. That's damn near 3 months of being able to sit down, iron things out, and see what would be best for them. And Rig, it's sad to say, but I think you're right. I think we're still not going to get what we want out of this. We're still not going to get exactly what would be best for the fans who watch and support these leagues.
And this is why I think they can't rush it, man. This is why I think by October, by the end of October, if you've got no deal in place, then put it on the table. Table the discussions until after the 2024 season. Because one thing they cannot do is say, okay, we're just going to spend this next spring working out deals for a 2025 merger. No, you have to have football in the spring, or your merger's going to fail before it even begins because you're going to lose everybody. It has to be continuous. So that's why I'm saying if this thing is going to work, man, they can't rush it. And if by the end of October you don't have a deal in place, table the talks, go through with what you guys were planning into your 2024 seasons, and then come back to it at the end of the year. At the end of the spring.
Now, how does this affect this October 4th XFL draft? That's a huge question mark now as well.
It is.
You know what I
And
mean?
so they're still going through with this? So they haven't said anything about pushing it back, right?
They're still going through with this October 4th draft, and they're still going through with the January supplemental draft, as far as we know.
And if they go through with October, then I think then you can't merge for 2024. You can't, because then you've got one half of these teams adding players, while the USFL side of teams are just sitting there dormant right now. You know what I mean?
Unless the USFL is still going to have their draft, the XFL still has their drafts. They go into next season with the merge, but they do it like the AFL and the NFL. And we talked about this the other night as well. Now, hear me out, guys. Hold on, before we jump into this, hold on. Flame says, I was looking at the XFL scheduling 6 days for each venue as them scheduling playoff games. Didn't think about the ideal of 6 games being a part of a merger. I didn't either until we really looked at it. He said, Dan, take a breath and relax. I mean, it says it seems like they're going through everything since the execs are keeping everyone in the dark. And of course they are. Of course they are. You know what I mean? But I looked at it like this, and me and Gabe were talking about it the other day. He said these fan leagues are good, but when you try to force 2 leagues with 2 different fan bases, so to speak, to merge and be happy about it, that's not gonna work unless they merge, but they stay separate. Brings me to my point, Hit. Now, 6 home games, 6 away games, right? Me and Gabe were talking the other night, and we were like, well, what if they do a merge, but the XFL plays their games against the XFL teams, but play 1 home game and 1 away game against a USFL team, and vice versa.
Yeah,
that's a way the merger could start.
And then like you said, you get go ahead.
Each team has, or each league has their playoffs. You know, the XFL has their playoffs, USFL has their playoffs, and the champions play. You know, once the USFL champion is crowned, XFL champion is crowned, then you crown a new spring league football champion.
And that sets the path for a 1 league merger a year or 2, maybe a year. But that would be, to me, I would love to see that for 2024. Don't rush the merger into 1 league right now. Go through with your spring, seasons that you each were going to have in 2024, but do that. Have some interleague games during the regular season. Get your 2 champions to play each other, and then you say, boom, Houston Roughnecks or whatever, the actual XFL, USFL Spring League champions going into 2025 where we begin our merger season. I mean, I think that would make a lot of sense, and it would get fans excited, to be honest, man, because you're having the 2 champions play each other. You're seeing the Arlington Renegades take on the the New Orleans Breakers or something like that, man. And during the regular season,
the Birmingham Stallions, like
yes.
There would be so much that you could do with leaving them
And you know what that does, brother? You know what that would do? Because we talked about the fans being the most important part of this. That would get the fans excited. It really would. It really would. Bragging rights, exactly.
You're right. It is like wrestling. Different promotions. You know what I mean? Different names, different rosters. You know what I'm saying? But they're all the same. But in a way, it's kind of like wrestling or MMA. You know what I mean? It's not all within the same promotion, but it's separate promotions doing the same thing. The difference would be you would take these two different leagues doing the same exact thing, put them together, but keep them separate within being together. So you would still have the XFL, you still have the USFL, and then at the end of the season, like we were talking, you would have them go through their playoffs, XFL go through their playoffs, USFL go through their playoffs, and then the two champions meet and play for, let's call it, the National Spring Football League Championship. And the reason why I say the National Spring Football League Championship is because Fox currently owns the rights to that title, the National Spring Football League. So that could be a possible name change if they were to change the name for the merge.
Yeah,
and the reason why is
it's a good name. Yeah, it's a good name. It would be.
Why not call it the National Spring Football League? Both leagues together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We got the National Football League for the NFL. So why not have the National Spring Football League? The NSFL. That's all it's going to be. So at the end of the day, let's stop all this talk about the US XFL, the UXFL, which I thought of.
Some of them been making me laugh though, man. Some of the ones I'm seeing from people just kind of like, wow.
Even my boy on Ballhawk 1, he came out with, he said the Professional Spring Football League. I like it. I do like it, but I still feel that they're going to go with something that they already own, that Fox already owns, the National Spring Football League. So if you look at it from that way, you could keep the XFL and the USFL in this league merged together, and you just have the XFL division, the USFL division, or XFL conference, the USFL conference. You got the XFL conference North Division, South Division, East Division, West Division. You know what I mean? Once we get to 16 teams per, that's the total end game. That's where that's how this all has to start. It has to start with something small, but they have to have something in the future already planned out. So you look at it from this way. You started off with 12 teams, right? Whatever. Or you leave it at 16, 8 and 8, like we were just saying, right? And Gabe, when I say this, bro, it's going to make so much sense, right? So you keep the 8 teams of each. You have the USFL play their season, XFL play their season. You have the playoffs, and then you have the championship game. Now, next season, you add more games. You have at least 6 home games against XFL teams, 6 home games against, or 6 away games against XFL teams, and vice versa. 6 and 6 or 5 and 5, excuse me, for the USFL, and then you have 6 games against, or a certain amount of games against USFL teams and XFL teams, and then a certain amount of games against, vice versa. So basically, we're going to take both spring leagues and mix their season together in the second year, right? So now you're not just having XFL versus XFL, USFL versus USFL, and then after the playoffs, the two champions play against each other. Now you can merge it to where XFL teams are playing the USFL teams during the regular season as well, on top of USFL teams and XFL teams playing each other. You feel what I'm saying? Now you got, like I said, you have an XFL division or conference and a USFL conference. And right now, we'll just have a North and a South in both those conferences until we expand to more teams later on in the future. But starting it this way, it's like doing the NFL and the AFL. Except you merged And on top of merging, you've allowed each entity to stay separate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
how does that sound to you?
Or it could be USFL just starting their season earlier than they did this past year. If they went ahead and did that next year and have their leagues play it out before 2025, I think USFL just bumps theirs up by a couple of weeks. And I mean, they already crossed over their seasons crossed paths anyways this year. So it's not like it's something that we would not, it's just more football for me. So I would love it.
Yeah.
Shit, you know what I'm saying? So I'd be okay with it, man, if that happened. So yeah,
Yep.
that
The USFL champion versus the XFL champion. Exactly. USFL conference and the XFL conference. Exactly. Those will be your conferences. And then once you have 16 teams in each league, you got 16 USFL teams, 16 XFL teams. If we could get to that, then you'd have a 32 league or 32 team league. You know what I mean? And you would have a full. We would be able to have a season from February all the way to July or August. You know what I mean?
I got to be honest though. I got to be honest. I think if this happens, of course, there's got to be a rebrand. But I don't see the conferences being named after the USFL or XFL. I think I see something different of that. I think the teams though, like you're saying, the teams will be there. But I think with the rebranding will come to a creation of two new conferences. You know what I'm saying? Divisions, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, I think that the like you can go a number of ways about it, like the national football national spring conference, or the American spring conference, something like that. But the rebrand, it does have to be a rebranding though, definitely.
I like the sound of that. American Spring Conference, National Spring Conference. I mean, it's biting off the NFL, but who cares?
Shit. Who cares?
Football. You know what I mean?
It's football, exactly. It's football, and it's American leagues. So that's the way it is until they can coin the phrase American and national when it comes to football, which won't happen. Then it's possible.
So I mean, there's so much that goes into what's going on. Deuce, welcome in. Deuce, how you feeling today, brother? Y'all make sure y'all check out Deuce and Michael Lathrop, as well as what is your third co-host's name? Forgive me. Go check out the Neon Green Mafia show with Deuce, Michael Lathrop, and company. Tuesdays live. Yes, Coach Sal. There you go. Or Saul. I'm gonna call him Sal. That's my guy right there. They have a great show, man. Orlando Guardians fan show, which is part of the X Fan Legion, as well as just the whole XFL fan group that we have going on, which is the X Fan Legion. Like, people don't understand there's so much that we've been doing on the outside, you know what I mean, to try and keep the XFL's fan base strong with this. And now with this whole merge talk, it's gonna bring a lot of us together as far as like the podcasting and video casting and things of that nature, and really covering the league. So as a whole, I think we all are going to make an impact, but it's going to be hard, man. It's going to be hard because there's a lot, like we were also talking about, there's a lot of fans out there that are USFL diehard fans. They don't want to see the XFL and USFL merge, and vice versa. There's a lot of XFL fans out there who don't want to see the merge. They're like, no, we don't even like the USFL. We like the XFL, and vice versa. So it's going to be hard to try and get these fans to come and show support, unless they do it to where XFL teams are playing USFL teams.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And I think the way we were just talking about, with them doing it in a way of the AFL and the NFL type of style, they would have to. And they could start off small. by this season, going in and doing, like we said, one game at home and one game away against a USFL team and vice versa. And then next season, integrated to where you have a full schedule of XFL teams playing XFL teams on top of playing USFL teams in the same season. And then at the end of the season, you have a big, huge playoff. You know what I mean? Like the NFL does. And then the winner of the XFL conference and the winner of the USFL conference play each other in a championship game. That's the main way that this could work. That's really the only way that this could work and be successful and have all the fans still be engaged with it and trust it. But you got to keep all the teams. You got to keep all the teams. You have to find these USFL teams, those 5 USFL teams that don't have fields. You got to go find them fields. You cannot do the hub.
From the jump, if you lose fans before the first season of your merger, then you're already taking a step back, 2 steps back, 3 steps back. And then you're digging yourself in a hole when the merger is just beginning, just because you're losing fans. Because like we keep saying it, but it's because it's true. The fans are going to drive the success of this. So without the fans, sorry, you're not going to succeed. You're going to fail. And that's the way it's going to be. So it has to be all about the fans. Listen to the fans. Listen to the fans.
See, Rig Rocker says, I wouldn't have a problem with the USFL if they played in their cities. It's just hard to get behind a team if they aren't involved with their fans. And that's 100% true. Because at the end of the day, I can't sit here like within the USFL. I'm from New Jersey. So, of course, I'm a Jersey Generals fan. You know what I mean? But it's hard to sit here and root for a team who play in Ohio.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard for New Jersey residents to say, oh, I'm going to go all the way to Ohio to watch the New Jersey Generals play. No, they're not doing it unless it's a championship game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
for me, I live in an area where I don't have access to any of these teams, but my team is the Breakers. So personally, I have no problem watching them play elsewhere. But to your point, I wish I can see the Breakers in front of their home crowd in Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's a different experience when I'm watching on TV. Well, I'm like, man, my Breakers are playing. Oh, that was a hell of a play, but there's like 5 people in the stands. You know what I mean? And it's just like, yeah, it is, man. You can't. That goes back to my whole thing of saying that the USFL won't survive season 3 by itself because of the hub system. Because of the hub system. Like I was sitting here, the only news I wanted to hear out of USFL before this merger news was, tell me when you're putting the teams in their cities. Because other than that, I don't want to hear nothing from y'all, you know?
Because, bro, you could put the New Orleans Breakers in Baton Rouge.
Mm-hmm.
Or have them go play at the University of Louisiana. Have them play at Louisiana Tech. Have them play at some of these colleges, LSU. I mean, there's so many colleges in Louisiana that you can go and get them a freaking field.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Philly, there's high schools and colleges and hell, even if you don't put them right in Philly, you can find a damn college campus surrounding Philly that they can play.
I mean, there's a lot of teams, you know, up in NFL and other places that they're kind of on the outside of the actual city that they're playing in. So it would be okay for them to do that, in my opinion. Even if you're doing just a smaller stadium, you know, at a high school, until your fan thing picks up, your fan support there locally, it picks up to where there's a demand for a bigger venue. You know, all I'm saying is get them in their home cities.
You get that demand. Now the city is being forced to make a decision. Yeah. Now the city's like, okay.
Now they're like, we got something here.
Right. We got this place here. It's really good. You'll be able to have 20,000, 30,000 people. You know what I mean? 40,000 people in the stands. You'll be able to do this, that, and third.
Yeah.
It's just so much. And he says, okay, LSU plays in Caesars Dome when the Saints, so that wouldn't work. I get that. I'm just saying. There's so many different places in New Orleans or in the New Orleans area.
Yeah.
That they could have a damn field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Philly as well. Hell, Pittsburgh would be hard, but you could do Pitt, University of Pitt. I'm just saying, New Jersey. There's so Rutgers. Come on now. There's so many places that they can actually go and get. If the XFL was able to go and get fields, the USFL can do it. And the USFL got a little bit more money because they're owned by Fox. Come on now.
Yeah.
Let's just be real. Let's be realistic. They could put their money where their mouth is. The USFL could have had all their teams playing in their cities. They could have done that. And if they were smart, they would have been moved Pittsburgh to Canton. They would have been it.
A lot of people were asking for that during the season last year.
Yeah.
Like you love using Canton. They love using Canton as part of their advertising, and you know what? We're the Football Hall of Fame, and this is where we're playing games. Exactly. Fine, put a team there. Put a team there. Why not?
Easily had the Canton Maulers.
Yeah.
You change their colors. You change the colors of the uniforms.
They can go back to the old colors they used to have. You know when they have that? What was it? It was like a blue or purple or something like that. Yeah.
Orange. They're out there looking like a knockoff of the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah. Some neon version of the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, they could. He said, "I'm not traveling every week to Memphis to support a Houston team that never plays in Houston." Exactly, but that's why they would be smart to move Houston to the West Coast and bring back the Oakland Invaders.
Yeah,
or bring back the Denver Gold. You know what I'm saying? Just saying. Hell, you can bring back the Washington Federals and have them and actually move them to Washington State. And have them compete against the Seattle Sea Dragons for supremacy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Interstate battle.
But I think I was going to say if they're going to go to the Northwest and add a team there, I think it would make more sense in Portland. Yeah.
Or even Boise. Boy, what? You know how many people would love to have a freaking professional football team in Boise, Idaho?
Because they ain't got nothing else to do over there, man.
Right.
It's prime. It's prime.
Broncos is all they have. The Boise State Broncos is all they have. What's going on, John? Welcome in. John says still stadium deals are expensive. You've seen how much the XFL lost this year. Yes, Fox has money, but they will not throw money at a program unless it remains profitable. The USFL also has a huge attendance issue. And I agree with that 100%, John. But my thing is
the attendance issue is what we've been talking about because you don't have actual fans in their cities.
Exactly.
That's kind of that's a gray area right there to use the attendance issue as a thing. But we all know the reason for the issue. You know what I'm saying? So
the reason for the issue is because you don't want to put these teams in their homes, in their respective cities to play. Fox had enough money to go and get them a good deal. Come on now, if you were able to get the Hall of Fame field,
yeah,
and you're even able to host your championship game at the Hall of Fame field, come on now. You could have moved the team there. You could have moved the Pittsburgh Maulers there.
And see, the thing is too, like we talked about earlier. Yes, the part of what comes with these contracts is contracts for the venues. That is understood. But we also know that the XFL, anytime you have a business thing like this, you're going to lose money in the first year or two, couple years. They knew this, and with this merger. They know that it's a possibility. It's probably going to happen. What you got to look at is the long run, the long term, So that's what they have to be banking on right there. There's going to be lost money. It is. Everybody knew the XFL was going to lose money this year. They knew they were going to lose money this year. But what you do is you build up a fan base. Yeah, the money doesn't come until the fans continue to support it, which is in the long run. That's when the money starts coming in. So that's why when you're doing something like this, it has to be a long-term view.
Exactly.
Long-term view.
Spend to make it.
Yes.
Have to spend money to make money. If you want a return on investment, you have to invest more.
Yeah.
The more you invest, eventually the better your return will be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the thing.
And that's with anything that you have a business model to, no matter how small or big, that's a rule right there. Spend it to make it. You have to.
Yep. And
it's look at advertisers. Advertisers, it's a perfect example. You're paying money to advertise your product. But what you're hoping is in the long run that advertisement brings more money in the long run. It's the same model here. Exact same thing.
And that's what they're looking at, the long term. Yeah. That's why they're talking about merging, because in the long term, they're going to survive together and not survive individually. That's just a common, that's just something that they came to a common agreement on. We're not going to last individually on our own. John says there is word the XFL lost more than 60 million reported. Also, the two leagues cannibalized viewers competing. Also, both leagues tried to secure funding and neither have. The merger is an attempt at cost cutting. Of course, they have to cut costs between the two leagues. That's another reason why they're merging. Yes, of course. It's about money. We know that. But the thing is, for them to have a successful merge is what we're talking about now. Like, how can they be successful with this merge?
Yeah.
Because
the success comes down to keeping the fans interested.
Because if you ain't got no fans that's wanting to be a part of this and want to support it, the merge ain't going to matter. It's not going to matter whatsoever, especially if you cut out a bunch of teams. So the best way, in our opinion, is for them to merge together, but keep the leagues separate, but together. So where you're having different conferences, a XFL conference, a USFL conference, or like Gabe was saying, a National Spring Conference or National Spring League Conference and American Spring League Conference. You get what I'm saying? So that way, thank you. Yeah, just like we were saying, the conferences, you'll turn them into conferences, but keep all 8 teams. But the problem for the USFL is they ain't got no damn fields for 5 of their teams. But with the clout, the recognition, and the name of the people that represent both of these leagues, this should not be hard for Danny Garcia, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Daryl Moose Johnston, and Red Bear Capital and Fox Sports to go and make a deal to get some of these damn fields for these. It's only 5 more. Let's keep it real. Well, 6 if you include Vegas. That's only 16.
And to be honest, it's all going to come down to investors. It comes down to investors. They want investors to help them do this.
Might be coming in, and you hear, but boy, them Saudi boys have been spending a lot of money investing in these American sports and investment. So, the PFL, the Professional Fighters League, they just got some money brought in from Saudi. Now you're going to start seeing more of that, but it's the same thing. They have to go out and find real investors now.
Find investors, yeah. And see, the investors, what they have to be convinced of is saying, look, you're going to give us this money now to put these teams in stadiums or whatever. But in the long run, you stick with us for 2 or 3 years. The advertisement money starts picking up because our viewership starts picking up. Then that's when the investment starts seeing a return. So that's where it comes down to, is like we said it a while ago, the long-term view. And that's when it comes to, do you have somebody really good to talk to these investors? And I saw something the other day, bro, that kind of I thought about. Somebody was talking about online. Wow, you need to get The Rock out of there. I'm sorry, but no, because he's a face. He's a face that the casual fans are going to know. You know what I mean? Regardless of what a lot of people think of him, he brings money to the box office and movies. He brings money to wrestling because people love the dude. So if you want the casual fans, which is what you need to actually make this grow, then you need a face like his. I don't care if you just make him the face and say, okay, that's what you're going to do, because he's got the connections. And then so I was like, when I read that, I'm like, there's no reason to actually kick him out of this. I mean, come on. He's one of the reasons that the XFL was brought back. So I don't see them making any change. And, Danny would make the perfect choice as far as chairwoman, but I just feel like there's too much of this. Well, they should do this. They should do that. They should do this. They should do that. They should get rid of this. This is what I think they should do. Everybody's got their opinion. We get it. We're giving ours, but you know what? We have the platform to do it. So I don't care. We're going to do it. but it's just, I get tired of so many people saying, well, get rid of The Rock, get rid of Moose, get rid of the, no, that's not the way this is going to work, y'all. There's just too much to be lost.
Flame, you're right. I didn't mean to cut you off, Gabe, but Flame, you're right.
No,
it is on Fox. But damn it, if we're gonna merge, we're partners now. Damn it, I need help.
That's it. That is it. And do you know what? To be honest, if you're the XFL, and when the USFL asks you how can you help us? That's when the XFL says we're going to help you find homes for some of these teams because that's what we're bringing to you. So yes, while it is on Fox, the fact that XFL approached them, the XFL has to help them do it. Otherwise, Fox is like, you know what? If we got to do it on our own, then there's no reason for a merge.
Exactly.
There's no reason.
To go with
how y'all going to help us? Yeah, like how y'all going to help us? We got to bring everything to the table here? No, it takes both sides. Like you just said it. We're partners now, baby. So guess what?
I need your help.
Exactly.
John says the big investor is going to be the NFL because they benefit from better players.
The problem is the NFL is going to be stubborn about it.
NFL, and I think that's a motivator for this merger. Listen, this was in the works when the XFL and the NFL signed an agreement for the NFL to adopt some of their rules.
Yeah.
This was already starting. But the thing is, what you got to realize as a spring league football fan, you don't want it to be or to get to a point where NFL owners start purchasing these spring league teams. Because then we're going to get the NFL all over again.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
Then you've got a whole bunch of different rules and everything that are going to come into place. And it's just like the spring leagues. One thing the spring leagues have an opportunity is there's a sense of freedom there. You know what I mean? They can be all about the fans. The NFL is so big that they're not just about the fans anymore. The NFL is not a fan-friendly league. Does that make any sense to you? It's not. It's not. So if you get, like you said, to your point, if it gets to a point where the ownership comes down from the NFL buying these teams in the USFL and the XFL or whatever, you lose that freedom for the fans. Yep. So that's a big risk, I guess. Yeah, keep them away. That's right. We don't want the NFL there. You know John, what I mean? We want this thing to be its own thing. Exactly. That's it.
We want it to be spring football.
Yes, independently done.
NFL. You know what I mean? Yeah. And John, I knew about this. I knew about it when Vince McMahon and what's his name? What's his name that was in Oliver Luck when all that went down with the XFL in 2020. Fox was one of the first companies out there to even mention possibly buying the XFL and bringing it back. But when it was all said and done, there was no reason for Fox to sit here and have two separate spring football leagues. At all. There was no reason for them to do that. That's why we ended up getting Danny Garcia, The Rock, and Jerry Cardindale from Redbird Capital. That's how that happened. Because there's no point in a league being owned by Fox. Then they go out and buy another league and like, oh, we got two separate spring football leagues. It just wouldn't make any sense. John says it's about controlling interests. If the NFL has a 40% stake, they do not have control. The NFL still benefits with their camp bodies. The NFL's going to the problem with this. We've seen what the NFL does, though, man. If the NFL, even with a 40%, there's going to be conditions to what they do.
The NFL will find a way to have as much control as they can because we've all seen it. Why do you think they make a big deal during the offseason of the draft and you spend months? Why do you think they do a countdown now for the schedule release? Because the NFL, they're the attention whores. They don't want nobody else being in control. Nobody, even when they're not in season. So you don't think to tell me that you're telling me that if the NFL, even with a 40%, there's not going to be conditions for them, they will find a way where they have control here. And that's what we do not want. We don't want that. Yes, provide some of what you're willing to help us get some of these guys to your league, but that's it. You know what I mean? And you profit, and you make a profit. That's it. NFL's about the profit.
In the NFL is advertising.
Yeah.
Advertise the XFL and the USFL or this new merged league. Advertise it during the NFL season, especially during the end of the season.
We're gonna give you guys a cut, and there you go.
Period.
That's it. Because all the NFL wants is money anyways. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Control and money. Well, we'll give you some money for this. You just advertise us, and we're going to be getting these guys ready for your training camps.
Yep. And another reason why they did this merge is so that these USFL players can start getting invites to camps. Because look what and then even with the NFL, man, screw the NFL when it comes to our spring league players, man. Because they did our spring league players dirty as hell this year. I don't care. The NFL used the XFL and the USFL. They used the hell out of our leagues
to bring the spring fans. Yeah.
They made us feel so freaking good. Like, oh, hell yeah, man. Over 100 players combined between the XFL and the USFL get signed to teams for camps. And then as soon as fucking mini camp's over, what happened? Soon as preseason's over, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
All of them got released or assigned to a practice squad.
And a lot of these guys, man, I'm looking at like Magoo and then that I'm like, I'm sorry, but Magoo is better than a lot of these backup quarterbacks in the league right now. Just an example, that there's the talent that we saw in the USFL get cut is better than a lot of the guys I'm seeing as backups right now on the 53-man rosters.
Mm-hmm. Real talk. Okay, now the NFL Europe, you said the NFL Europe was completely financed by the NFL for its term. The owners killed it because of that fact. You really don't feel the owners would be content with the non-controlling interest?
Man, but NFL Europe was a different time, though, man. Like, NFL Europe was a different time.
It definitely was.
There wasn't a market for American football there at the time.
Nope.
That's why they've tried to spend the years now taking games over there to build it up again. But at that time, there was nobody wanted to watch American football in Europe.
Nope. That's why you get these games now happening in Frankfurt, Germany. You get these games now happening in London, and they're starting to go overseas more and go to Europe more with these games. Because
now to move Jacksonville to London.
Right. They're going to, instead of making a whole NFL Europe, all they're going to do is just make expansion teams.
Yeah. Yeah.
There ain't no reason to make a whole nother league and then promote that whole other league. We're just going to bring in expansion teams. You know what I mean? Clyde said, what's going on, Clyde? Welcome in. Clyde said it's favoritism for the NFL. Of course. But the NFL played the hell out of all these guys in spring football.
Yeah.
And the crazy part is the guys who got signed to a contract, we have to hope good and damn well that in their contract, it doesn't say that they can't go back and play for the USFL or the XFL team they played for.
You know what this did, bro? This whole preseason and then them releasing these guys, giving some hope, a lot of talented guys. This was the NFL simply sending a message saying, look, we can bring you up just to knock you back down again anytime we want. And it's like, why? The spring leagues are not trying to be you. They're not, man. But the NFL takes any of this in a bad way. And it's like, no, man, like they can help you. They can help you keep guys developed. Teams are going to, we saw coaches talk about it, bro, during training camp. What was the one the interview they had with Mike Tomlin? When he says, the spring leagues are good because these guys, a lot of them are veterans, or they're coming in, they're ready to hit camp and run it. So
when he said that, I was like, you know what? You're sincere.
Yeah.
Because it made total sense. These guys are coming fresh off of a full season.
Yeah.
Whether it's a spring league season or not, they're coming fresh off full contact games.
Off of having game tape. And that's another thing he mentioned. These guys are putting film. They're putting film out there as recently as a month or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you're watching film from a player of 2 years ago and saying, okay, is he still that?
Exactly.
Instead, these coaches are looking at it and saying, look at what this dude did a month ago. Let's get him in here.
And that's the difference between what Mike Tomlin said and what Dan Campbell said. I respect the hell out of Dan Campbell.
Yes.
But boy, you said some scripted BS. Oh, it's great for the NFL. It's great for these guys to come from USFL and XFL, and this is done there. He didn't say nothing about the condition that they're in. He didn't say nothing about he didn't say nothing similar to what Mike Tomlin was saying.
He made it sound honestly like, well, we're the rich guys giving the poor kids a chance. Look at us.
I didn't respect that at all.
Yeah. That wasn't it. He didn't talk about their talent or nothing like that.
Exactly. Mike Tomlin said these guys have talent. They're showing the talent that they went back and made better, and this is that and the third. And he spoke on the realness that it brings to the NFL by bringing these guys up, being in shape, coming straight off of a season, already played 10, 15 full contact sport or full contact games. You know what I mean? They're ready to go. But I don't know, man. It shows 30 practice squad players and 3 starters show the value of spring leagues. The NFL does not value the spring leagues. Brandon Aubrey, what's his name? Patrick Whelan, or what's Whelan's first name? Something Whelan, Dan Whelan or something like that, the punter. Bro, we're talking about special team players. Yeah. What other spring league player has a starting roster spot?
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
And I mean, you can look at that too and still say, if there's one thing at least, was that as a Cowboys fan, I could say the one player they did bring in, Brandon Aubrey, they showed some respect to him by keeping him as the only kicker in the offseason and saying, you know what, we're going to ride with you. But now you've got Kevontae Turpin. It's taken Kevontae Turpin 2 years to get himself now as part of like getting actual work in the offense, man, which I was yelling for all year last year. Thank you very much, Kellen Moore. But anyways,
but also he's getting that recognition of being in the USFL.
Yes,
the MVP of the USFL that season, and that's what got him into the NFL.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. It was that title that they were like, okay, it made some people pay attention. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, look at this dude right here. Look at what he can do. And I mean, these coaches
he came from the USFL, or he came from the XFL. Oh, okay, yeah. But he's on a practice squad. A punter, exactly, Rig. Parker Romo.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
This kid on a practice squad? He should be starting for Chicago. I didn't even know practice squads had a damn punter, man. He should be the starter he should be the starting damn kicker for the Chicago Bears, because their kicker is trash and their offense just looks horrendous. Okay, so he shouldn't even be on no damn practice squad. But I'm just saying, like, they did our players dirty this season, man, and this merger is going to affect a lot, but we just got to see how it's done. Like I said, I hope they do it the way me and Gabe were talking about, to where they have the USFL and the XFL keep their teams. They find stadiums for all the teams to play at, and they just integrate. They start the first season off small. You know what I mean? They start the first season off small, and you get, like I said, 1 or 2 games against, basically interleague games, and then next season, boom. You feel me? Or they can even still do the champion versus champion this season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have a couple games. You have the little 2 games, one away, one home, interleague. You know what I mean? And then boom, whoever wins the XFL championship, you have them play the NFL championship or the NSFL championship. You know what I mean? The National Spring Football League. He says former Birmingham Stallions kicker Brandon Aubrey. Yep, he's on. LeBrian Ray. You damn right. I forgot all about LeBrian Ray. LeBrian Ray did make a 53-man roster. I just don't
And I'm
remember.
gonna tell you something, man. Brandon Aubrey's he's killing it right now. He is. You know, it's a good thing. Even if it's just a special teams player, it's a good thing.
The Jets scored 10 points on offense. Guess
This
how
man
much
scored more points. This man scored. He outscored the damn Jets offense by himself.
Boy, that goes to show you that he's a damn good kicker. And he was drafted to the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
He was drafted to Major League Soccer and played one season and then went to spring football.
Yeah.
And
now look at him. Kicker for America's team. The brightest stage. You know, so but it just goes to show you that there is talent there, man, that the NFL, if some of these teams are willing to take a chance on, if the NFL just kind of lets the reins off of what they can and can't say, you know, and do to promote these players, man. That's the way it's got to work, though, man. But the NFL is like that. They have to have full control of absolutely everything that they touch, everything.
Yeah.
And that's it's not. It's
because
not. But
you take away the originality that our spring leagues are bringing, you know, or because let's keep it real, the XFL has a lot of original shit that the NFL.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a fan friendly league, man. They do things that excite the fans, you know, and so the NFL is not about the fans. They're like, we don't give a damn. We got so many of you, we don't care if some of y'all drop off. It's all good, you know. But it would be a bad thing to let the NFL have too much control here.
I mean, John, loading up a practice squad with spring league guys and not putting none of them on the roster. I'm just
and then let's keep in mind though. Let's keep in mind, man. Like a lot of these guys are on spring leagues, and I guarantee you, some of these guys are going to end up on a 53-man roster during the season. But the way injuries are happening right now. Yeah. But the bad thing is, I see your point though. Like the fact is, you're on this practice squad never guarantees anything. Exactly. It really doesn't. You know,
except a bullshit contract.
Yeah.
And then if they keep you on the practice squad, you can't even go play spring football.
Yeah. You know, nobody ever wants to hope for injuries, but if your own career's on the line and you're on a practice squad, deep down inside, you're like hoping for an injury, you know, so that I get a chance. And you don't like to think that way, but it's the truth. It is. It's messed up. But when it's your own personal career on the line, you're like, damn, the only way I'm going to get a chance is if there is an injury.
Yep. And speaking of, we're gonna table this for next week, you know, in case we hear some more updates and information. But if you guys have any questions for us for next week regarding this situation, we will touch base more on it. Make sure you send your fan mail questions to the Gridiron Podcast at gmail.com. And of course, I will ask and answer those questions live on the show for sure. But definitely get those questions in right there. If you have any more questions about the merge, what I think, what Gabe thinks, you know, what we think is going to happen. If we hear any news, you know, any of that this week, you know, make sure you email those questions right there. Now, speaking of injuries in the NFL, sheesh, did you see this injury to Nick Chubb's leg? Oh my gosh, bruh. I'm not even going to show it because it's so
it's pretty bad. It's pretty hard. It's hard to watch, man.
Your leg ain't supposed to bend that way, man. And I don't think it's looking good for Nick Chubb. I hate to say it.
That's the second injury this bad on that same knee. The only difference is in college, it went the other way. And I don't, man, like this could this be career? I mean,
that's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah, man. And the
I think
dude,
Nick Chubb's career could possibly be over, man.
I don't know about a dirty hit. I think it was no.
I mean,
What do you do? What do you do? Like, you can't tackle anybody anymore? If you like when you wrap legs, you got to go low. I mean, so I didn't see it as a dirty hit.
Nick Fitzpatrick was making a leg wrap, like he was wrapping around the legs. He was doing a waist tackle, like he really was. I watched it over and over again, just to be like, because he feels like shit. You know what I mean? Because he may have ended this man's career. He feels so bad because he may have ended this man's career. But at the end of the day, he was just trying to make a football play.
It's a physical game, man. It's a physical game, bro. These things happen.
That's like trying to blame. That's like Bart Scott, dumbass, blaming T. Higgins last year for the DeMar Hamlin incident. You can't.
Yeah, Bart Scott seems to be on a roll with freaking putting his damn foot in his mouth, doesn't he?
Yeah. He really does.
The reason running backs don't get paid. Actually, you know what? This is the reason running backs should get paid. Because they're the ones that are in the middle, like taking this kind of stuff. And I'm going to tell you one thing, bro. This is going to change. The next collective bargaining agreement that comes around, I'm sorry, they better be pushing for running backs to get bigger and guaranteed rookie contracts then.
Yeah. Because
Nick Chubb right now, you want to know why running backs should get paid? Watch how much this affects that offense. Yep. Watch how much the lack of Nick Chubb there, who, in my opinion, is the best running back in the game. Watch how much that affects this offense there. Deshaun Watson ain't getting it done. He's not.
But guess who they got?
Oh, yeah, I'm not worried about Kareem Hunt, man. Nah.
I'm just saying. They brought back in Kareem Hunt to, he can get the
but they have already said that Ford is going to be the feature back moving forward. So Hunt is brought there more as depth. I'm sorry, Hunt's not what he was. He has not been to a training camp this year. He's not like he can go out there. They even said he's probably not going to be suiting up this week, which of course, I mean, you got to get the guy up to speed. I just don't see, and Hunt and Ford, neither one of these guys is going to replace Chubb. No. At least, in that offense. They could be solid, but you would need Deshaun Watson to start balling out. And right now, he looks worse than I expected. Even though it's only 2 games, I get it. We always say don't overreact. But this dude had a full training camp. This offense was supposed to.
He had a good amount of games last season to start getting warmed up.
This offense he was supposed to be ready to take the load off of Chubb's back. And for what we saw 2 games in, it was already looking like Chubb. It was all going to be on Nick Chubb again.
$230 million.
Guaranteed
money.
Fully guaranteed. Fully guaranteed.
You said, is it the line or is it him? It's both.
Yeah. I'm seeing him under.
Barely had a line in Houston. And he was getting the ball.
He made plays.
He was getting the ball to his receivers, and he was making plays with his legs. He don't even look like he can run.
No.
He's running out there, man,
that's what's missing from his game. Yeah.
It's like he's scared to run. Let's be real. It's like he's scared to get hit or something. Because even when you see him get sacked, he curls up. Like he curls up. I don't think we got the same Deshaun Watson out there anymore, man.
But Nick Chubb, this is a major, major loss, obviously. That goes without saying. Best running back in football. And I mean, for it to be so early in the year, it's just like, damn. Man,
so early in his career.
Yeah. And this could be, like we said, this was the second type of injury like this since college on that same knee.
One went this way. This one went the other way.
I know the advancements we have in medicine and everything like that, man. But damn, this is bad, man. This is bad.
You would literally have to reconstruct this man's leg.
Yeah.
They're paying that guy paying a guy that kind of money usually coordinates, and owners do not want to
But you're paying him that kind of money because you want him to do what he did in Houston.
Mm-hmm. You paid this man $230 million to go to Cleveland and try and
let's be honest, bro.
Possibly win.
His legs are half of his arsenal. So if you're wanting him to rein that back, it doesn't matter because it's guaranteed anyways for him anyways. So if you're wanting to rein that back, well then expect for his game to take a big step back, and it has. He might have to start running now.
He definitely has to.
Not might. Yeah, you're right. He's gonna have to. He's gonna have to.
And Rig, you're right. Even if if Chubb does come back, he may never be the same again. He may never be the same.
I agree. He's not. You're going to lose a lot of that cut, and then the power that he has running through people. When you're using that power coming off of that knee, man, and it's not going to be the same.
Hey, Rig, what's the score of that FSU game, brother? Yeah, but it's definitely not going to be the same. Saquan Barkley. Speaking of running backs getting hurt, Saquon Barkley's out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think 3 weeks. I think he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Yeah.
He's out at least 2 to 3 weeks with a high ankle sprain. He's out for sure this week, or he was just out for sure this week, and it showed. Oh, yeah. San Francisco.
Well, I think even with him, it would have been a tough task in going to San Francisco, but we were seeing it parts of the game where there were holes on that San Francisco defensive line that if he had been there, they were in it for that first half, man. Their red zone defense was playing well. I think had he been there, maybe they could have grinded it and made it ugly there at the end.
Yeah.
But we knew it was going to happen. I'm watching this game and I'm like, man, it's a matter of time. This game's going to get away from them. It's a matter of time. And it did. Second half, man, it just totally got away from him. Danny Dimes isn't the guy. That offense isn't built for this. And I talk. This goes back to week 1 with Dallas. That offense isn't built for games like that, man. If you don't have Barkley running the ball, then you can't win ugly with that team that they have. There's no.
Nate Smith calls him Saquon Barkley the bag of chips. They ain't got Saquon no more, so he's just a bag of chips. Because Danny Jones couldn't even get the ball to Darren Waller, and when he did, Darren Waller acted like he couldn't catch.
Dude, what the hell? Why can't Darren Waller get open this year? What's going on with it? Why is he though? I'm sorry, he's got linebackers covering him. That should be a mismatch. This guy should be wide open. If that's what was happening in with the Raiders, he was always open because they had a mismatch every single time. I don't know. I watched this game and he's got guys right on his hip. Like, man, what's going on there? What's going on? I don't know.
24
no Saquon, no play action. That's right.
He's got a high ankle sprain, but he heals pretty quick. Last time he had a high ankle sprain, he was out 3 to 4 weeks. I'm just saying. JP says people that say the hit was dirty have never had to tackle someone with power like Nick Chubb.
Yeah, exactly. You have to tackle him from his legs and waist down. You have to when you got that much power. Yeah,
exactly. No Saquon, no play action.
Yeah.
He said Saquon's ankles are God. I don't know, man.
I think Saquon's going to be all right, man. I think he'll be okay.
He's come back from ankle injuries and he's looked even better.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine, man. I mean, it's not like he was hurt all last year. He played a full season last year. So, but we're seeing it though.
Rig for sure. I think he's got some personal things going on. I think his head's not all the way in the game, bro. Because Darren Waller, you can tell the way he looked in that game against San Francisco, he just looked like he wasn't the same person from last season with the Raiders or, in his previous seasons since he's been in the league. And then when you got to imagine, you got a quarterback like Daniel Jones that you have to try and rely on and get you the ball.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones is not the answer. And the Giants are going to regret paying him all that money. Because if they don't pay Saquon, bro, he's leaving.
Well, the problem is, too, if Saquon comes back and gets hurt again, he's not going to get paid. And he may not get paid by another team. So he's going to have to make sure that he stays on that field after this injury. And let's be honest. I mean, Daniel Jones isn't there to be a quarterback that takes over the game, takes over the team like that. This is Saquon's team. And it shows when he is not there, especially against an elite defense. We kind of saw this coming, man, that this was not going to be a close game without Saquon there. And it was just obvious from the beginning, man. Waller actually missed most of last season. Yeah.
I forgot the injury. I think it was like a hamstring or some shit like that.
Yeah, he had a pretty
He was hurt. You said the Giants have an option to restructure Jones's contract in 2 years if he regresses. Yeah, but that's 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Saquon could be gone. Then you're looking at trying to find a new back and rookies. You know what I mean? That's the problem they're going to run into.
And that's the thing is I think they were hoping to solidify that position, the quarterback position, and say, okay, now we can focus on building up our defense and getting our line and all that. But what this is going to do, if you have to worry about restructuring Daniel Jones, in about a year or two, then then that's when you're taking, okay, we can't work on our defense right now.
Right.
Because now we got to figure out what we're going to do at quarterback. So the whole plan was supposed to be where Daniel Jones steps up this year. Now it's only week 2. Okay, so let's give it another couple of weeks and let's see what he's got going on, man. But yeah, it's clear. It's clear that they're not going to compete against playoff teams, the caliber like the Niners and Eagles and Cowboys, unless 1, Barkley's on the field, and 2, they win ugly again like they did last year. It's got to be grinding. That's what they have to do. That's the way they're set up. That's how they won ball games last year. And without Barkley there, you can't do that. It's impossible.
Yeah. John says, I don't believe Jones is the long-term guy, and we're still building both lines because of Gettleman's mess. Yeah.
Gettleman left y'all in a bad situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's putting it lightly.
Situation. You know what I mean? And I just feel paying Danny Dimes. Listen. Daniel Jones. Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like, I wouldn't have paid that man all that money. I would have franchise tagged him, would have dropped Saquon a couple of mil, made him happy for the next 2-3 years.
Yeah. I think the prove it deal should have been Daniel Jones. Yes, Daniel Jones should have been on the prove it deal and said, look, you don't prove it this year. Yeah, you don't prove it this year, we're going to get in a quarterback in the draft next year. That's what should have happened.
Mike, what's going on, brother? Mike said a kid got ejected from our 10U game today for targeting. Was absolutely not intentional. At what point do the consistent rule changes ruin the game? I'm for safety, but the excess is ruining the experience. And then people wonder why football participation is down throughout the nation. The worst thing the NFLPA could have done was reduce contact practices. This isn't a turf issue, as many are suggesting. It's lack of conditioning.
Yeah. Now, I love this point because, real quick, last year, the last 2 years, when Mike McCarthy, we know this as Cowboys fans, he was getting physical at practice, getting these guys ready for the season. He got fined both times. Okay. What happens now this year? They took a step back and say, okay, we're going to follow the rules. We're going to go light in practice. Man, we've got overshown ACL. Okay. We got another one that we're going to talk about here in a minute, which is major. We've had, a couple on the Cowboys. So exactly what Mike is saying, the practice thing, it has not prepared these guys physically for what the beginning of the NFL season brings in. Exactly. It's made it more difficult to keep these guys healthy early on in the season.
You're going to make me get out of my seat for this. What the hell are you talking about, John? Dwayne James proved what statistically? What are you talking about?
He didn't prove nothing last year. He can manage a game.
He can manage a game? That Brian Daboll could put him in a Kyle Shanahan type situation and he could be somewhat successful? The man threw 15 touchdowns 15 as a starting quarterback in the NFL? Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? That's like my Uncle Tommy saying that Daniel Jones is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Said what Giants fan ever besides him? When did Daniel Jones say, yeah, I'm a top 5 quarterback? You know, I'm that guy. Not never. Not never. He proved this statistically. That's the funniest shit I've heard all day.
Yeah.
He said, he said Daniel Jones. Listen, Daniel Jones got that deal because they believe in Brian Daboll. Period. Mm-hmm. They believe in Brian Daboll and what he's able to do as a coach. That's why he got the head coaching job in the first place, because of what he was able to do as an offensive coordinator on the Bills with Josh Allen.
I think Daboll is hoping to make Daniel Jones into Josh Allen, and that's not going to happen because he has the legs, but he doesn't have the accuracy downfield to do it.
And on top of that, look at Josh Allen now without Brian Daboll. He's even more turnover prone.
Yeah.
So come on now. I'm just saying. No, but you're right. You're right. You say I do not agree with the deal, but that's how the GM justifies it. Yeah, but the GM was just saying that to save face. He don't believe that shit about Daniel Jones. What he believes is that Brian Daboll is the right head coach for the Giants. Period. He believed in what Brian Daboll did, what got Daniel Jones to do last season. It was just like Cooper Rush in Dallas.
Yeah, you put him in a position. Offense. Yeah. It's like, look what we got JP saying right there in the comments, and that's 100% true. 100% true. Yeah. Because that's what a game manager does. He complements your run game. Enough that I'm not going to lose the game, but you're the focal point of the offense, not me. Exactly. And Daniel Jones got paid as if he is the focal point of the offense, which we all know he's not. It has to be Barkley, because we saw it the other night. Without Barkley there to try to do something in that run game, Daniel Jones isn't going to get it done against these good defenses. He's not.
And Matthew Breida, he's a decent running back. He's a complimentary running back.
Barkley. Yeah, but he's not Barkley.
Saquon. Yeah, he's not Saquon. He's not going to get you 150 yards with ease in a game and talk all the mess he wants in a game because he's that dude. Breida's not that dude. No. Danny Dimes Jones is not that dude.
How many times did we see that? How many times did we see Daniel Jones last year throw a little quick 5-yard dumper out to Barkley? And Barkley takes it, for 20, 25 yards. I saw one against the Cowboys where he took it to the house. And so you need Barkley. He needs Barkley to succeed. That's the bottom line. Line.
Rig, if they were to try and turn Danny Jones into a Taysom Hill type quarterback, he's got to gain a lot more weight, bro. He's got to
take a huge pay cut too.
Yep, and he's got to be able to take a hit.
Yeah,
he can't do that. Taysom Hill could take a hit. Taysom Hill is a tight end before he was playing tight end in high school and playing quarterback. So that's why he's able to do that. You know what I mean? And he's developed his body as years progressed in him playing the game.
He's had to adjust his role
to that tight end frame, but still be able to launch the ball as a quarterback. So it would be kind of hard.
Let's be honest, though, man. Like Taysom Hill's not gonna be starting on an NFL squad, though. I mean, if you got to tell me, if you got to ask me, hey, man, do you want Taysom Hill starting or Daniel Jones? I'm going to pick Daniel Jones every single time. So it's a whole different, like you said, though, the scheme, everything, Taysom Hill's kind of just made himself to his role, so Daniel Jones would have to do a complete 180. Yeah.
Taysom Hill made a role for himself on New Orleans. That's why New Orleans ain't going to give him up, because they can put him in at the Wildcat. He can run the ball, throw the ball, and they can put him in that tight end. He can catch.
Now, at what point? Now, how much of this, though, and I'm going to be honest with you, how much of this, though, is their lack of anybody in that receiving corps stepping up and saying, I'm going to be your guy. I am going to be the guy that consistently every week you can go to, and they've had nobody. They've had guys that have games here and there, but there's been no consistency in that wide receiver group. And guys like Jalen Hyatt, he's a field stretcher. He's not going to be your wide receiver one. There's still no wide receiver one there, man. And I know what happened to the Giants in the draft. They saw these receivers dropping and they were like, we're going to get one. And then all of a sudden, those few picks before the Giants went, everybody was pulling receivers away from the Giants. So they had to go with Hyatt, but I don't think Hyatt was their original plan. I think they were looking at getting a wide receiver one. They just kind of had to go with what fell in their lap. So that's not going to help Daniel Jones either. Without that wide receiver one guy, man, that's not going to help him at all.
Yeah, Jones is doomed. No receiving game without a run game. You're absolutely right. There's the Giants have no offense no more.
No,
without Saquon Barkley, they have no offense whatsoever. That's why it's going to be hard for them to score, unless you're playing a team like the Arizona Cardinals. I'm just saying.
We're gonna see when Barkley comes back. So because like I said, it's still week 2, so there's still time for the Giants to get this thing. Week 3. Well, going into week 3, so there's still time for them to they get Barkley back here in a couple weeks.
I mean, they're 1-2. They're 1-2 now since they played on Thursday, so they're 1-2. But it's going to be hard without Saquon. That's all I'm gonna say.
But let's be honest too, though, man. They were expected to go 1-2 anyways in the first 3, playing against Dallas and at San Francisco. So
yeah, they definitely were. Now, how about them Cowboys? Oh man, I've been waiting all week for this. Y'all talk so much crap about the Cowboys. But we are the best team in the NFL right now. We may not be the best offense in the NFL right now, but we have the defense and the special teams and a damn good offense that we ain't even let. They haven't
unleashed it. They haven't unleashed that offense yet, man. Yeah,
you just got a sample size against the Jets. Yeah. It's a sample size, and you've seen more of our kicker than our actual offense. Our offense just put the ball down in the red zone and said, "Okay, we ain't gonna try to do too much.
Yeah,
we ain't score a touchdown. All right, Brandon, come on."
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But what people have to realize is, boy, them Cowboys, you damn right. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Hit. Oh, you can't troll on this one. No. No. They do not stink, brother. Get your Stephen A. Smith ass out of here with that. You can't talk that mess this time. You know what I'm saying? Because, y'all can go ahead and talk all the mess you want. But we got the best defense in the league. We have the best
defensive player. Could be the best player could be the best NFL player, period.
No, could be. Micah Parsons right now is not only the best defensive player in the NFL, but he is the best player in the NFL right now. Who's better than him? Whose name is getting spoke on more than him?
Nobody.
Don't worry, I'll wait. It ain't Patrick Mahomes. It ain't Jalen Hurts. It ain't Aaron Rodgers. It ain't Lamar Jackson.
The only person that's getting spoke on even close to as much as his is Tua. That's it. Even Tua is still kind of having to give up light to freaking when everybody's talking about. And you know what's funny? Who's the one player in all this that nobody's talking about is Dak Prescott. But guess what? Through 2 games, who do you think leads the league in quarterback rating right now? Oh, Dakota Prescott does. He's being efficient. He doesn't have to be the guy right now. We know it's going to come down to it, bro. We're going to see there's going to be a game where we're going to get tested. And our offense is going to have to open it up. And I trust in Dak to be able to do that. He's proven he can do that. But right now, Michael Parsons is by far the guy. He is the guy, possibly the face of the NFL for this season so far. I'm not saying overall, that's still Mahomes, but you know what I'm saying? Right now, Everybody, every channel you watch, every show you watch, there's at least one segment about the Cowboys, and it all starts with the young lion. It all starts with Micah Parsons. It does.
And Cheetah, Tyreek Hill, I respect the hell out of you, bro.
Yeah,
but don't you ever
call yourself
in
a
your
lion.
life.
Don't do that. Don't do
call
that.
yourself a damn lion when it comes to my man Micah Parsons, because he gonna run your ass down and he go. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Stop playing with us.
Yeah.
Now.
Oh, Micah told him too. Micah told him too. You're a cub. You're a cub.
You're a cub, baby.
That's
boy.
what you are.
You're a cub.
Yeah. You run fast.
Now,
that's good. You're a cheetah. Stick to that.
This does hurt our defense.
That one. That dude. I'm still feeling this right now. I am still feeling this one. When
also helps our defense, our young defensive players. This is gonna help them.
Yeah. I think Bland is ready.
To hear a lot about
Deron Bland is ready. Yeah, Deron Bland. He's already shown he's a ball hawk. Deron Bland. Y'all remember that name. Okay? Deron Bland. Do you know why he's perfect for this role right now? Because he's a ball hawk. Exactly what Trayvon Diggs is. He'll develop. He's going to get worked. He'll give up some passes. He will. Because just like Trayvon Diggs did in his ball hawk year, he had to develop as a cover corner. But guess who's there now to help this dude out? Oh, a dude by the name of Stephon Gilmore, future Hall of Famer, by the way. Yeah, he's there. He's going to be helping these dudes. But Deron Bland, man, he's out there. He came out and said it the other day. I am ready. I have been waiting for this, for my opportunity. And now he's going to get it. Now he's going to get it.
You're damn right. You're damn right. And with the rest of what this defense has been doing, all he got to do is just come and get settled.
That pass rush is going to give this boy a lot of opportunities to do what he does best, which is take that ball.
Confidence is going to be on 10.
Oh, did you see, though? Let's talk about it real quick. Bart Scott came out the other day, y'all. Had a comment. I was just telling Jersey about it before we came on air. And some of y'all might have seen this. It was on First Take. It was with Ryan Grant and Stephen A. And Bart Scott's over here going on this rant about how much this hurts the Cowboys. Yes, we get it. Big loss. But he has the nerve afterwards when thinking it's going to be a mic drop moment. And he looks at the camera and says, because this injury like this was bound to happen, because in the words of Stephen A., it's always something with the Cowboys about to happen. And even Stephen A. is like, whoa, dude, no. I'm not talking about an injury. Diggs is my boy. I'm talking about the team, not performing on the field, not about guys being hurt. And you could see Bart Scott's face like, oh, shit. I done messed up now. I messed up.
I messed up now.
Mm-hmm.
I done pissed off the executive producer.
Yeah. Well, you know who he also pissed off? Micah Parsons.
And Molly.
Micah Parsons. Yeah.
Molly, I just seen the look on Molly's face when he said that, and her eyes was just like, bro, you shouldn't have said that shit. And then Stephen A. was like, hold on.
Yeah, Ryan Grant's like, no, come on, man. Don't say that. He's like, don't say that.
Ryan Clark was like, no, I'm not saying all that. And then Stephen A., who y'all know, any chance he gets, he's gonna try and clown or joke on the Cowboys. But he said, this ain't no joking matter. I'm not gonna come in here and joke about a person being injured. He was like, I wish Trayvon Diggs a speedy recovery through the offseason or throughout the season and going into the offseason. He's like, I hope if the Dallas Cowboys make it to the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl, that he is able to come back and play, which more likely ain't gonna happen. But at the end of the day, he's like, we ain't gonna joke about this man being injured. But
but he pissed off Micah Parsons, though. Micah Parsons responded to this shit. And he was like, okay. He said, okay, y'all wait till we're out there. Yeah, he said, you wait now. You want to make a statement like that? I'm going to show y'all why this isn't going to make our defense take a step back.
Week 5.
Yeah.
Week 5, Johnny boy. Week 5. I've been telling my wife because she's a damn 49ers fan. Week 5. Preview of the NFC Championship game this season.
It's coming.
Stephen A. surprised me because he said, even with us losing Trayvon Diggs for the season, we're still a top 2 defense in his eyes.
I agree.
We're still a top 3 NFL team in his eyes. What? And at the end of the day, we only lost one person on defense, which is a major hit.
Granted, it's an all-pro. Yeah.
But guess who's coming back? Jordan Lewis.
Jordan Lewis just in time, man. Just in time. Because, Deron Bland has been playing the slot brilliantly. But what this allows us to do now is to put Bland on the outside now that Jay Lewis comes. Because we all know Lewis, when he's healthy, he's one of the best slot corners in the game. He is. It's just he's got to stay on the field.
Over the nickel. And you can slide him over the nickel if you need to. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, man. Now, on the offensive side, we're still up in the air about this injury. Tyler Biadasz got injured the same day.
Don't know. They're calling him a game time decision.
Yeah. He hurt his hamstring in practice. He injured his hamstring the same day Trayvon Diggs injured his towards ACL. So we're literally looking at our starting center and our number one defensive back being out for this upcoming game tomorrow. So, I mean, it's not too big of a deal.
I'm thinking, you know what? Go ahead and let Biadasz sit
him
this
down
week.
Give our backup.
We're not playing. Yeah. I'd rather have him there against that Patriots defense next week. Just rest him. Whoever you got to rest this week, I'm okay with it because we still got enough on offensively and defensively. If it turns into a point where we got to rest some defensive players too, and we got to give up some points, fine. I trust in our offense to be able to put up points because they've shown that in the past.
I think this is a game for the offense. I think this is a game for the offense.
I'm with you. I have a feeling this looks like something where they could be saying, look, you know what? Let's open it up early. And let's just knock them down early and let the defense keep them down the rest of the game. And let's just end it early. Let's let the offense, let's show them a little something early and let's have an easy day. That's the way I see it.
Let's put our backups in the fourth.
Yeah.
Let's blow them out.
Let's open it up early. We've got Brandon Cooks coming back this game. Let's get our receivers the ball early. Let's go up big early, and then we can lean back on our run game and our defense to just kind of hold serve, if you will.
Exactly. So it's gonna be interesting to see, man. Before we go any further, let's get this out of the way. You already know. Your boy, always with it. My boy hit. I'm sorry, y'all. Hit. You feel me? It's about time for some fan mail. And as always, our boy Hit comes through with the fan mail questions. The first question he's got for us today says, how come some touchdowns are worth more points than other touchdowns? He's like, I could be seeing things. What you're referring to, I know exactly what you're talking about. A 2-point conversion and a touchdown. Now, a touchdown is worth 6 points, but you'll see them line up and go for it like they're still, in that scoring drive and go for a 2-point conversion. That's what that is. You just see the team go for a 2-point conversion because they either need the points or they're trying to take that lead and put the point margin at a specific area. Because when I first seen the question, I'm like, more points than the other.
Yeah. You know what? I see what he's saying because sometimes I'm turning it to a game and I don't realize they're going for 2. And I'm like, damn, y'all just got in the end zone. And I'm like, wait, oh shit, they were going for 2. Okay. So you know what I mean? So
that's what it is. It's basically the 2-point conversion.
Like when you see a team get 7 points off of a touchdown, it's because they went for the extra point and got it. But either way, like the standard touchdown is worth 6 points. So yeah, I think you're right in asking this because it's clarifying it. Whereas it looks like they're going for a touchdown, but it's actually a 2-point conversion. So sometimes they don't even get it, and you end up getting only 6 points instead of the 7 or 8. So
it's just a matter of how it plays out. And you're actually right. They just added the XFL's 2-point conversion. Or you said they're recently added by the NFL?
What was recently? A few years. They've had the 2-point conversion for a long time.
About to say for.
You know what? What they did was a few years ago they moved the extra point back.
Mm-hmm.
to the 15 yards instead of hiking it from the 2. And now that's what changed with that, is that the 2-point conversion still happens from the 2-yard line. But I think before they moved the extra point back, it was you had to pass it in, and now you can actually run it in if you want to. It'll count. Yeah.
Yeah, you were talking about.
So it was the format. Yeah, it was the format of the 2-point conversion that changed, but it has always been there for as long as I can remember. But
Brian, question 2 from Hit. He said, "What is the point of a field goal after a touchdown?"
There you go. Yeah,
I get that one extra point, and it makes a difference, but is it necessary to the game?
Now it is. Since they moved it back to the 15-yard line, it's not a gimme no more. We've seen that. We've seen guys. Hal Aubrey missed one. Or the first extra point that he had this season. So sometimes it does actually affect the outcome of the game. It actually does. If you do not, it's not a gimme kick no more. You have to be met. We've seen it, bro. Ever since they moved it back years ago, we've seen it where guys miss a lot of extra points, and it comes back to bite them in the ass.
Last season, Brett Maher. Yeah. This is why Brandon Arbery's our new kicker. Brett Maher missed 5 extra points in one game and almost cost us the game. Legitly, I don't know if it almost cost us, but I don't know if it almost cost us because that game was out of hand. But it could have. It could have. Yeah, and that you're right. That's why, I think he felt that his job was safe after that because Dak and then bailed him out. But no, that wasn't safe. It wasn't. Bro, your job was. And then when you go into the next game and miss another one, we was like, yeah, you're out of here after the season. Rick says kickers have one job but seem to miss it at times, so it is important. Yeah, it is, and that's why
a lot of pressure at that position, man. There really is,
and that's why you'll see some kickers who are really, really successful. They'll get big contracts. Contracts because their leg is that damn important. It sounds crazy, but their leg is that damn important in the games. So the extra point is very, very necessary in the game of football because that 1 point could be a difference maker and a 1-point game, 2-point game, you know what I mean? And eventually the outcome of the end.
It could mean the difference between a tie going to overtime or you winning the game by 1 point in regulation.
Yep. And like you said, certain or football games, certain Super Bowl. Yeah, that certain Super Bowl was won by a field goal. Yeah. We ain't gonna talk about that one, but yeah. It's just like that, bro. So it's very, very necessary. All right. Next question and last question from Hit. He says, when a game is a washout, basically a blowout, do you think it affects the league or just how people view that game? And when I say affect, I mean fans spending money on tickets for the next game and so on and so forth. Now, Gabe, I'm gonna let you go ahead and give your thoughts on that first.
I don't think so. In terms of the NFL, no. I don't think it affects it at all because they're going to sell tickets either way. Even when teams are bad, they're going to sell tickets. And when teams are bad, there's going to be blowouts, So the NFL, the fan bases for the teams in the NFL are so strong that blowouts don't really affect how that goes. Now, it does in a positive way if you've got a good team. You're still going to sell tickets if your team is bad because you've got season ticket holders that are on contracts, stuff like that. But we've seen it with the Lions, when expectations pick up, then it helps it in a good way because now all of a sudden the Lions have their first sellout of season tickets in their history. So getting the blowouts and stuff, the most that it does hurt is the consistent viewership of staying on through the entirety of the game, which is why you see it a lot. And people get mad at this when they're watching their team winning by a blowout and they switch to another game.
Yeah.
Because of they don't want to lose the viewers, over the course of that 3-hour window or whatnot. So it doesn't really hurt the viewership, in my opinion, that much, but the networks make sure that they try to keep the fans tuned in by switching out to a more competitive ball game. But I don't think it hurts ticket sales and stuff. In my opinion, it doesn't.
And in my opinion, I don't think it does either. Like John said, he said, I guarantee Dallas fans kept watching week 1 and kept drinking. You
Oh,
damn
yeah.
right.
Oh, yeah. I was
Week
over there
2,
taking
we did.
shots. I was taking shots.
Week 2.
To you,
Damn right.
Michael Parsons. This one here, this is for you, Stephon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. J. Rod Curtis, when you got that interception, that was to you.
Yeah, let's pour another one.
You know yes, we did right. We kept drinking. You know what I mean? And like Rick says, no, some fans love to see great defensive games and some love high offensive games.
And that's me. That's me.
And I'm
with you on Rick. Yeah, and see, I don't mind an offensive game when my team's not involved. I don't want a shootout. You know what I mean? Because my heart can't handle that. Mm-hmm. But Rig, overall, I love defensive ball games, dude. Like, that's what I'm about. I love defense, pounding with the run game. I love it, man. I don't mind a low scoring game. But the casual fans, on the other hand, they want to see that excitement, which is why the league has made it to where it's more friendly for the high scoring game because they want the casual money to come in. But yeah, I'm with Rig, man. I'm like, I don't mind the defensive ball game. I really don't. I love it. I love it.
And as a fan, if my team is playing lights out defense and then as well as high powered offense, yes, I want both. You know what I mean? I'm a fan of both of them. So give me that. And even if the game is a blowout, like, bro, I watched till the end. Because you never know what could happen. You'll sit there and your team.
I saw somebody saying that the other day. It was like Mina Kimes or somebody talking about. I still watched the game even after a blowout because I could not wait to see what Michael Parsons and that defense was going to do on the next possession. Mm-hmm. So when you're looking at a defense, the way you look at offense, like, oh, I can't wait to get on offense and see what we do. When people are saying that about a defense, that says a lot. That says a lot right there. If my team's behind
the defensive struggle,
that sucks, man. That sucks. I hate that. That
makes me want to watch the game even more, though. That makes me stay watching the game because I'm like, all right,
you're like, man, all we need is that one big play. One big play. Yeah.
The offense back on the field. The offense capitalizes. That gives our defense that spark. Like, okay, we got you now. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's just a mixture of both. Hit. It definitely is. You know what I mean? Hit says I didn't really think it would or think it did, but I've tried to ask something someone might not want to ask or be afraid to ask.
No, it's good talking points. These are good talking points. Yeah.
He's totally over this. John says, I guess it depends on the market and nature of the game. Giants Dallas is a divisional rivalry. There is no mercy in those games. You damn right. And he said I'm too old. Oh, you saying too old for this? Yeah, Rig, man, but that's how it is. So, you got a lot of fans who's going to watch the game regardless, whether it's to support their team, whether it's a blowout or not, whether it's to support their team.
Let me give you an example. Let's give them an example right here. Week 5, I fully expect the Cowboys-Niners game to be a defensive struggle, but I guarantee you the viewership is going to be off the chain. It's going to be up there.
Number one,
it's going to be up there, even if it's a low-scoring game like the playoff game was, because it's not going to deter the fans. They're going to be seeing two great defenses.
Yeah, definitely.
That's it. Hit exactly. And I love your questions, man, because they get us talking. They do.
Yeah, they definitely do. Yes, old school smash mouth football, and that's what these defenses are about this season. Right. You can tell a lot of these defense, especially our defense. Dallas Cowboys defense is very, very smash mouth this season, and I think that's what's going to take us.
They hit you. They're everywhere. That's what the Niners do too. That's why the Niners have been so consistent year after year because they play smash mouth football.
Yeah, but there's some holes this season. You can easily tell where their holes are. That soft zone coverage, smack them around. Any offensive coordinators out there listening?
That secondary has holes.
Got to play against San Francisco. That soft zone coverage. Drop them little dump routes, them little HB screens. They were getting 8 up by the Los Angeles Rams. 8 up, bro. 8 up. So there's some holes over there. We've actually gotten a hell of a lot better with covering those soft zones and really putting players in positions to make plays when it comes to those dump routes. So it's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
Both San Fran and Dallas. This is going to be an amazing game coming up. But to answer your question, Hit, again, it's just a matter of the viewers. You know what I mean? The viewers, they're going to watch their teams and support their teams regardless, whether it's a blowout or not. Whether they're doing
you might lose the casual fan during the broadcast. Yeah, you might lose the casual fan during the broadcast, but the hardcores are still there. Yeah,
for sure, for sure. So, with that being said, Hit, of course, bro, we want to thank you again for that. Stop it. I love it, man. I love it. Before we get the heck up out of here, though, because my boy Gabe got to go to work today. So we got it. We tried to keep it short today, but there was just too much. That merge conversation I knew was going to get a lot of us talking for a long time. But these are the big Colorado or big college football matchups today. You got number 19 ranked Oregon or Colorado going in to Eugene, taking on number 10 Oregon. Dion has his first huge. This is a huge test for Colorado, and especially without Travis Hunter, their two-way superstar, man, it's going to be hard, in my opinion, for them.
One of the better defensive lines. Oregon best defensive line so far in the Pac-12, and we've seen how much Shedeur has gotten sacked this year. So this is going to be a test.
A lot of numbers. I do see
he's going to have to, but that defensive line is going to be his biggest test, man, and he's already been sacked a lot. So they're going to have to give him some help, man. I mean, the running game has been non-existent for Colorado this year. So they are. Yeah. It's a good thing they've been in some shootouts because they're going to need it. They're going to need it.
I think Dalen Edwards has a big game. I think the offensive line has a huge challenge today. I also think the defensive line has a huge challenge today. The defense in general has a huge challenge. You know, Deion Sanders himself said that the Colorado Buffalo have been playing hot garbage defense, and so he knows going into this game, defense is going to win you this game. Defense is going to win them this game against Oregon. If not, if their defense doesn't show up today, it's a blowout. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and they haven't shown up yet. Yeah, I mean, they did a little bit against Nebraska, but let's be honest, Nebraska's offense isn't exactly a juggernaut. So.
Right. And you see Shedeur didn't put up as many numbers against Nebraska as he did against TCU or Colorado State.
So it's going to be a test, but this is one that I do think I told you the other day, man. I think they get exposed. And maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm going to admit it. I'm going to be like, okay, I see you, but I don't see it.
And then the Ohio State Buckeyes are traveling to South Bend to take on the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. And I'd have to say, as much as Ohio State has been a powerhouse over the last 10 years or longer, Rig, I'm sorry, but I think the Buckeyes get beat today, buddy. I think Brutus is going to be walking away with a tear coming down his big old mascot eye, buddy, because I think them boys from Notre Dame. Sam Hartman's been lights out this season, man. Yeah. Sam Hartman's been throwing 3 to 4 touchdowns every game so far this season. Yeah, he's definitely put his name in the conversation for Heisman. And yeah, I don't like the way y'all look this season too. McCourt's a decent quarterback, but I don't think he's going to get you to the national championship game. And I think he's barely going to get you guys to the playoffs. I mean, what do you think, Gabe, about Ohio State's new quarterback? They don't have CJ Stroud no more.
Yeah, this isn't the same team. This isn't the same team, the offense that they had with CJ Stroud. You still got the best, the receiver, of course, the receiving isn't the issue. Quarterback, this shows you how important it is. And I just don't know if I see OSU being, by the end of the season, where they were last year. CJ Stroud was just, there's a reason that a lot of people were saying he was the most NFL-ready quarterback going into the draft, because he had a full handle of this offense, man. Like he had a full handle of everything. So, and you know how I felt about Notre Dame going into this season. I felt that this was going to be a team to watch out for, and they're already showing it. But damn, what a marquee matchup, bro. This is a marquee matchup. And damn, I got to go with Notre Dame at home. But OSU has a chance to prove something here. They got something to prove right now because a lot of people are saying exactly what we're saying right now.
They could upset them, but I still feel Notre Dame's going to pull this out. I really do. Yeah. Now, this Utah versus UCLA game. Now, everybody listen. Before we go any further, the Pac-12 has more teams in the top 25 than any other conference in college football, right?
Yeah.
And Utah and UCLA are two of those Pac-12 teams who are ranked. But here's the thing. Utah doesn't have Cam Rising today again.
Yeah.
So we're going to see if that young quarterback that's starting for him right now, we're going to see what he's able to do against a team like UCLA and the defense like UCLA. I think it's going to be a tougher task. I think UCLA may be able to run away with it, but I still give Utah.
I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance. Utah, don't be surprised, man, if this
I'm gonna go with Utah.
Way. Yeah, I'm going with Utah.
I'm picking Utah, but I just still feel that it's going to be a tougher task because now they're playing a tougher team. You know, they're playing a team with a legitimate defense. They're playing a team with a legitimate offense and legitimate quarterback. So I think that it's really going to be up to the quarterback play behind that young boy's arm down there in Utah, and that defense is going to have to play lights out, fast, quick, electrifying defense today in order for them to win. And I think that's going to be huge in part for Utah to go in there into UCLA and win. Rick says he's taking the Ducks, the Bucks, and the Utes. We're taking the Ducks, the Fighting Irish, and the Utes. So we'll see how it all works out. Before we go, Cam Akers, former Los Angeles Rams running back, got traded to the Minnesota Vikings. He's actually not even going to suit up for this week's game, I don't think.
Madison, you better save your job this week. That's all I'm saying. He's got to save his job this week.
My fantasy team, damn it.
So yes, I know, man. Damn, I got 6 points from him last week.
That's all I got from him last week.
Come on, man.
I did beat you in fantasy football.
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks in a row, 2 separate leagues. I'm just saying.
Damn it. Man.
Also,
I'm all about dramatic comebacks during the season, man. So
I know, right? I'm waiting for you to make. I want to see El Jefe make that stretch at the end of the season.
Yeah,
you know?
Man, I got to, man.
Also, not CJ Stroud, Bryce Young is out for 1 to 2 weeks. Just seen that on ESPN. Bryce Young is out for 1 to 2 weeks. There's a few injuries. Burrow's questionable for Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I don't expect him to play. When they asked him, his answer was, "We'll see." That doesn't sound like a quarterback who's confident that he's going to be out there. And to be honest, this early in the season, just let him get healthy, man. Put him on the bench. You know,
Texans placed their cornerback Stingley Jr. on the IR, so he's done.
That's big. That's big. That is big.
And
that's
the Pats are down another cornerback. Jones is out for the game tomorrow, so it's gonna be something different to see tomorrow. So these injuries is gonna be crazy. Also, the Saints just signed defensive end Granderson to a $52 million deal. Carl Granderson just signed with the defense of the New Orleans Saints, so I think that's going to be kind of big for them as well. We'll see going into the this game coming up this week. I think the Saints are trying to make their defense, something to look at. So we'll see.
They're going to get
who signed AJ McCarron? Hold on, who signed AJ McCarron?
No, McCarron's is still with St. Louis. Yeah. No.
We wouldn't know.
This would have been major news across the spring leagues. Yeah.
Mike Mitchell would have been reported. James Larson.
McCarron's not going into the league unless he's got a shot to win a spot as a starter. That's it.
No, they didn't got no. They didn't sign him. The Bengals didn't sign AJ McCarron. They signed what's your boy's name from San Antonio Brahmas? Stedman?
I don't know. All I know is it was Green. whatever spot opened up when they let Will Grier go from the practice squad, who went to the Patriots. Now we all know what Bill's doing there 1 week before the Cowboys game, but I'm just saying.
Reed Sinnett from the San Antonio Brahmas. That's who the Bengals signed. That's who the Bengals brought in. It was Reed Sinnett from the San Antonio Brahmas. That's who it is. It's not AJ McCarron. AJ McCarron said he's not going back to the NFL. So that's just to let y'all know. Just to let y'all know. But again, if you guys have any emails or any questions you want to send in and ask, feel free to do so right here to the Gridiron Podcast at gmail.com. And I will get those. Me and Double G will answer and ask and answer those questions live like we do every week. And make sure you guys go and check out the Gridiron Podcast, the Gridiron Nation Podcast, Gridiron Nation Podcast this Tuesday.
Yes, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So wherever y'all are at, know that that's 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Adjust accordingly. And I hope to see y'all up in the comments, man. Send me some of that fan mail, and we'll get it read, man.
Email right here to Gridiron Nation Podcast at gmail.com. And you can hit up the Gridiron Nation Podcast social networks right here for you guys. So make sure you guys go and follow your boy Double G Gabe Garcia.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
That's it for the show, guys. Great show this week. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. You guys are very, very passionate with today's show. You guys are very in tune with today's show. And we really, really thank y'all for being here. But we got to go, man. Gabe got to go to work.
I got to work, man.
Things I got to do, man. And it's going to be a wonderful weekend. So enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. Gabe, always a pleasure, brother. Thank you for being my fellow.
Always.
Love you, big dog.
Brother, as it is. Yeah, I got love for you, brother. You already understand. I'm going to try, man, but it's work. I'm going to try.
You know, it's all right. It's all right, though. Get that money. You know what I mean? But until next week, guys, this is the Gridiron Podcast Show. I'm George the King. He's Double G, Gabe Garcia. We out of here, y'all.
Be water, my friends.
Be water, my friends. Peace out. Oh, shit.